the idea that the whole world, like the plants and the trees, was made by God for you to enjoy, right? Enjoying in the way that we've been talking about now for a while, of seeing and delighting in it as itself, not wanting to possess or to control, right? Okay, fair enough, right? I can imagine like a tree can be that way. I can even imagine that a dog might be that way, right? It's got its own mind, it's got its own will, but it, in some sense, kind of finds its greatest fruition in it, in domestication and training, right? I could construct an argument about that. But my brother, right, the fellow man, is a person all unto himself, right? So how can he be part of the world that God gives to me? Well, I think that this repentance, this metanoia, that is all about looking outward, right? It's all about forgetting how you look to others and thinking about what's right in front of you and delighting in the sight of it because you delight in God who has created it, right? That looking outward changes the way that we might think about our brother being a gift of God to us, right? Some people are very annoying, right? Some people we find quite boring, and when you talk to those people, right, this shift of mind can actually transform the whole way you think about all your human interactions. This is like one neat trick, this one weird tip will change the way you experience other people, even, right? If you think of them as part of the world that God has given to you, but the part of the world that they are, right, is an entirely independent and other rational animal, right? And then if you think about it, it's like they don't even have to be very pleasant or nice or enjoyable for that to be an amazing and fascinating thing, right? An entirely independent being that is given to you not to control, not to possess, not to dominate, but simply to delight in the same way that you delight in its place in the sun, right? The sun has a certain nature and you delight in it in that way. And your brother has another nature, a much higher nature of being a rational animal who sees the world and judges it, right? And evaluates it in terms of its, goods and evils. And he does that in a way that is entirely distinct from you. And if you can learn to delight in that without wanting to possess it, right? To have it without possessing it, which is Traherne's whole point, right? Then you can suddenly understand that not only has God given you your brother, but in your brother, he's given you the whole world again, right? It wasn't enough to give you the sun and the clouds and the trees and, video games and life and light and books and all that stuff, right? All these things that we are able to enjoy. He also gave it to you refracted through the sight of somebody else who sees them differently, who maybe likes different books, right? Who has different opinions about those books. And so this kind of love, right, which I think Paul talks about in Romans 12, where he talks about the different parts of the body, right? And he talks about the renewal of the mind that enables us to enjoy one another as parts of the body. This is an amazing kind of thing when you think about it, because it actually means that in order to love somebody, you don't have to like them very much. And that's even before you get into all the stuff we were talking about last week with forgiveness. What if they do you wrong, right? That's true too. But you can actually delight in somebody, even if you find them kind of weird or silly or whatever, right? You can love your neighbor as this kind of whole new thing. And this is going to be a weird comparison, but sometimes you look in the ocean or something, you see a picture of something that was dredged up in the ocean, and you think, holy crow, like what was God doing there? Do you know what I mean? Like if you believe that God created everything, and then you're like, wow, just this, antelope, or Job in the book of Job, God kind of says this to Job about a lot of different things, like the ostrich, right? Like, can you understand what the ostrich is like? And so when you see the ostrich, it's like, whoa, like, I guess I know more now about God and his delights. And because I delight in God and because I have aligned my will to his, right? Because I want what is good for him, which is, his will, because his will is good. Then I know that, wow, all of creation is like this. And even this person, it's sort of like difficult to deal with and maybe like a little bit strange and grating. Doesn't mean you have to like spend every hour of your day with them. It does mean you can have a lot more sort of appreciation and fondness, even for people that are not going to be your best friend, in part because they are giving you the whole world as seen through another set of eyes. And Lewis says, when he talks about friendship, that this is why the angels in Isaiah's vision call out, holy, 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 to each other, right? Each one has a unique piece of the beatific vision, which he then gives to his fellows, right? And in that, we kind of receive the world again and again. The hymn says, evermore from his store, new worlds rise up to adore. And I think it's very different when it says that. It's very different from the kind of multiverse idea that there's all these different parallel universes, right? This is the idea that new worlds are contained, a new world is contained in the birth of each new soul.